So John Millman and Federico Coria, they're facing off in the first round of the Sardegna Open. Now Millman hasn't been in good form this year. He's only won one match, I believe, this year, and that was when he played in the ATP Cup. He won against Pivolakis in straight sets 6-2, 6-3. But other than that, he hasn't won a match this year at all. He lost in the first round of the Australian Open to Musetti. He lost in Singapore, and then he had some losses in Rotterdam, in Doha, and in Dubai. So he hasn't been in good form this year. Currently he's on a 5-match losing streak, and the last match he lost was to a qualifier who even kind of prefers clay better. So it's something that he's gonna have to change, but it'll be tough for him because he's playing against a player who is good on clay, and he himself is not good on clay either. He himself prefers hard courts better, and maybe grass, but like he's not good on clay. He hasn't won a match at Roland Garros, I think. So he will be hoping to improve on that, but he will have his work cut out for him if he wants to do that. Now, Coria has been in good form this year. On the hard courts, he didn't do well, but that was kind of expected. He's not so good on hard courts, so it was kind of expected that he didn't do well, maybe in the Australian Open, in the lead-up tournament, and then in Miami. And even in the lead-up tournament, he still managed to win the match, which was impressive. But he has done well. He did play in a challenger event, and he reached the quarterfinals there. He then played in Cordoba, and he reached the semifinals. He lost to Cerundolo in 3 sets. And then in Argentina, he lost to the other Cerundolo brother, Francisco. He lost him in straight sets, and then in Chile, he lost to Varias in straight sets, I think. So in the second round, but Coria is still good on clay, so he'll be confident because he'll know that Millman isn't really so good on clay, and plus he isn't in his best form either. So he'll be confident of having a shot at beating Millman, particularly because he's not good on clay, and so far this year he hasn't been in great form. So Coria and Millman, they've never met, so their head-to-head is 0-0 right now. So my prediction here is I think that Coria is going to win this in straight sets. I know it's a bold pick, but I think Coria is going to win this in straight sets. Why? I think because Millman, number one, he isn't good on clay, as I said before, and number two, he isn't in good form. And I think that Coria has shown that he's in good form so far. He's playing well. He played well on the clay court. Eventually, he did well on the golden swing, especially the first tournament in Cordoba, reached the semis. And I think that he's good on clay. I think that he's going to do something on clay this year. I think he will have his breakout this year. He himself said that his career is just getting started. So I think he's going to start with the win here. Well, partly. I think that he's going to start off this tournament with the win. And I think that he can be a dark horse for this tournament because he's good on clay. And his opponent right now is not in good form, and also is not good on clay. So my prediction is Coria in straight sets here. So Tommy Paul and Jens Hefman, they're facing off in the first round of the Sardegna Open. Now Paul, he played. I don't think he has played on a clay court event this year. He's played on many hard court events. So he started in the Australian Open. He lost to Rude. Oh, sorry, no. He started in the lead up in the Delray Beach Open. Sorry, and he lost to Coria in 3 sets, and then he lost to Poprin. He won against Nori in the first round, and then lost to Poprin in the lead up event in the Murray River Open. He then played in the Australian Open. He lost to Rude in 4 sets. And he may be disappointed because Rude is more of a clay court player, so he'll feel like he could have won that match. But and in Rotterdam, he did do well. He made the quarterfinal. He lost to Fucsovics in straight sets, but he did well because he beat Sonigo in straight sets, and then he also beat Bublik, who had just come off an upset win over Sasha Zverev. So he played well in that event. in Mexico, he lost rounds in straight sets, and in Miami, he then lost to Giron in straight sets. So Paul has done decently this season because he has won matches against good players. So he has done well, but he hasn't played on clay this year. So the question here will be: will he be rusty? Is he gonna feel the rustiness and the effects of not having played on clay for maybe a couple months now? Well, we're gonna see what happens now. His opponent Hanfman, he has also, I think he's played on clay. Yeah, I think he's played on. He might have played on clay, actually, because he played in a challenger event he didn't actually, because it was a hardcore event. So he actually hasn't played on clay. Sorry, take that back. So Hansman has actually played on several hardcore events this year, and he has lost in the first round of the Great Ocean Road Open in the lead-up event towards the Australian Open. In the Australian Open, he lost in the first round, but that was to Rublev, so no shame in that, because Rublev is one of the hardest players on tour, so it's not a shame that he lost to him. In Singapore, he managed to win one match. He lost to Albert after having, I think, match points in that second set. And then he lost in the first round to Gerasimov in Marseille, and then in Miami, he lost to Hashanov in straight sets after beating Steve Johnson. So we're going to see if he can do well on clay, because, we don't know much about his clay court. He did do well, I think, in Roland Garros. He lost in the down second round, even though he did win a first round match. And I think that he may be decent on clay. So we're going to see what he can do on the clay courts, because he hasn't really played on clay yet, and we don't really know his form. So Yannick Hanfman and Tommy Paul, I don't think they have met before. Oh, they met in qualifiers in 2019 in the US Open, and Tommy Paul won that one, I think, in 3 sets, 4-6, 6-4, 7-6. But they've never met on the main tour, so 0-0 officially, but 1-0 in favor of Paul, if you include the qualifying event. So right now, my prediction here, I think that Tommy Paul is going to win this. He's actually one of the Americans that can do really well on clay. He's one of the few, because most Americans do better on hard courts. Most Americans, they have big serves. They have, I guess, flat ground strokes. Their play suits the hard courts better, and the grass better than the clay. But Paul is actually one of the Americans, one of the few that do well on clay. So I'm going to pick Tommy Paul to win this. And I think it's going to be in 3. Actually, no, I think it's going to be straight sets, because Paul is just in better form right now than Hanfman is. And not only that, but he can do really well on clay, I think. So my prediction is Tommy Paul in 3 sets. So Federico, Gaio, and Laszlo Djere, they're facing off in the first round of Sardegna. Now, Gaio, he's not a guy he's not a mainstay on the main tour. He's more of a challenger level player, from what I can see, because he plays in more of those lower level challenger events. And his highest ranking is 124, so he's not really a mainstay on the main tour. He's more of a challenger level player, but he has had some decent results. He did do well in some of the hardcourt challengers, and then he did also play in some clay court challenger events, so he will be equipped for the clay courts, and I'm sure he may be able to make a match out of this if Jerry is not in his best form, and if he can raise his level as well. And in the hardcourt events, in the main that he attempted to qualify for, he lost in the final round of qualifying. So in Acapulco, he lost in the final round of qualifying. And in Miami, he did lose in the final round, but he was awarded a lucky loser spot. So as a result, he was able to play a main draw match. He lost to Berankis in the first round, but he even managed to keep it close, because he managed to take it to a tiebreak after Berankis was leading 2-5. So he is showing that maybe he'll be able to make a match out of this if he is in his best form, but also he's also a challenger level player, so he's gonna have his work cut out for him because Jera is accomplished at this stage. He's way higher now. Laszlo Jera, he's the defending champion at this event, so he's actually trying to defend his title here. He won against Cecchinato in the final in the last edition of this tournament, and he's the defending champion in this edition and trying to defend his title here. So let's look at more of his clay court events because that's where we're going to be really focusing on. In Argentina, he played in Argentina and he was able to make the quarterfinals. He lost to Kecmanovic in straight sets, but they were close. And in Chile, he then lost to Bagnis in 3 sets, but Bagnis did go on to make the final. So it's not a shame he lost to him because Bagnis, he did go on to make the final, and he did go on to challenge Christian Guerin, but he lost in 3 sets. So Jera will be also equipped for the clay and that will make the match even harder for Gaio, considering that he is more of a challenger level player, and also considering that he is not really as accomplished yet. So it's going to be interesting to see what will happen in this match. Now, Jera and Gaio, they've never met on the main tour before, but they've met in challenger level events, I think, in twice, and Jera has won both of those meetings. So in Budapest, that was a hard court though, but Jera won at 7-5, 6-3, and then in Italy in 2017 on a clay court event, Jera won that one 7-5, 6-2. So it's going to be interesting to see what will happen here. Now my prediction here, I think Jera is going to win this in straight sets though. His opponent is just not a mainstay on the main tour. While Jera is more accomplished, he has more accolades, I guess. He's more accomplished at this stage. And while his opponent may be older, he may be older more experienced in terms of age, Jera is the more experienced one here. So my pick to win this match is Jera in straight sets here.